Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our another series of CUET PG B.Ed, where we help you ace the CUET exam. So I'll quickly tell you on what this video is going to be. In this video, we'll be learning about learner and learning. So firstly, we'll understand who is a learner. Then we'll see some of the characteristics of learner. And then what is learning? Then factors affecting learning. So we'll quickly understand what all these factors are. I've mentioned some of the factors and we'll be learning about them in detail. These factors are the social factors, the emotional factors, the cognitive factors, the environment factors, teacher and curriculum, and finally the individual factors. So I hope you all are ready. So let's begin this session. Okay, so first of all, who is a learner? So a learner is anyone who is engaged in the process of acquiring knowledge or skills. So right now you are at the receiving end of knowledge, so you can be regarded as the learner. And I am the giver of information or knowledge, so I am the facilitator or the teacher. Okay, so learners can be found in two types of settings. As we can see, the formal setting, learners in a school or a college can count as formal setting. Okay, and in informal setting, learners who are engaged in some kind of hobby, some kind of workshop, some kind of mentor-mentee program, they can be regarded as learners in an informal setting. Okay, so moving on, we'll look upon some of the characteristics of a learner. Okay, so what are the characteristics of a learner? So learning depends upon various factors, depending upon the social environment of the learner, the institution, and the individual itself. So every individual, every human being is born different. Every human being has some inherited traits that makes us different from other human beings. Okay, so but apart from that, in general, here are some of the characteristics that a learner must possess. Okay, so first of all, we have motivation. Motivation, again, as we discussed in the previous video, it is of two types. Firstly, we have the intrinsic motivation and then we have the extrinsic motivation. So intrinsic motivation is the motivation that comes from within, inside of the individual. Okay, so we can be intrinsically motivated. Like right now, I'm intrinsically motivated to teach you all. Okay, then we have the extrinsic motivation. These are basically driven by some kind of rewards, or often it is driven by punishment also. Like children do a certain thing, or they do study for the exam because they are extrinsically motivated to not fail in the exam, okay, or to not get scolded by their parents. So that is what you call as extrinsic motivation. Often scores can also be called as extrinsic motivation. Okay, grades or scores, good academic record is also extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation will be to learn a new skill, to understand something, to gain knowledge out of it. That will be intrinsic motivation. Okay, basically not driven by any materialistic thing. That is what you call intrinsic motivation. Okay, then we have reflectivity. Reflectivity is nothing but introspection. Okay, we introspect, a learner will introspect. Since it is a lifelong process, it is a continuous process, we need to reflect upon our learning and then we need to grow. Okay, so that is what we mean by reflectivity. Then we have adaptability. What do we mean by adaptability? Adaptability is adaptation to various situations. For example, adaptation to various learning styles, adapting to nowadays it is very common to use technology in classrooms. So adapting to technology in classrooms, use of various tools, use of various applications. So that is what we call by adaptability. Okay, then we have inclusivity. As we talked about in our previous lecture also, we also discussed the concept of diversity. So what do we mean by diversity? In classroom. So whenever we're talking about diversity, we'll talk about diversity in classroom first. Okay, then only we can move to a broader term when we talk about diversity in a community or diversity in the country. Okay, so diversity means nothing but having a faceta of lots of languages, lots of cultures, lots of religion, lots of castes. So people from every social background coming together in the classroom is what we call diversity. Okay, so a learner needs to respect and understand that all the other learners come from diverse backgrounds. So we need to be inclusive. Okay, inclusive to various needs, inclusive that a learner might not speak English, a learner might not speak Hindi, some learner might not speak Marathi. Okay, so that is what we mean by inclusivity of languages. Okay, self-awareness. Self-awareness refers to awareness of one's own skills, strengths, and weaknesses. Awareness of strengths. As an individual, we must know where our strengths lie, where our weaknesses lie. We can work upon strengthening our strengths. Okay, that is what we mean by self-awareness. Then we have collaborative. Collaborative can in a classroom full of learners, collaboration can be referred to as a place where where peer learning is happening. Okay, where peer learning is happening. So by focusing on peer learning, we are building healthy peer relationships or positive peer pressure. Okay. Okay. Then finally, the last and final characteristic that we have is curiosity. What do we mean by curiosity? Curiosity can also be regarded as thirst for knowledge. So since learning is a never-ending process, a learner is a learner for a lifetime. Okay, so we should have this thirst for knowledge, which will make us grow as an individual and will help us in learning lots of new things. Okay. Then, okay, what is learning? Learning is the process through which an individual acquires knowledge, skills, experience about a particular subject or a discipline. So a learner is involved in the process of learning when they understand a subject, a domain, or a discipline, or they acquire some kind of new knowledge or develop the already existing skills and gain some experience. Okay. So what are some of the features of learning? It is a process-oriented approach. As we discussed, learning is a never-ending thing. It is a lifelong process. So it is process-oriented and not product-oriented. Okay, we are not, when we talk about learning, we are not concerned with getting good marks. We are concerned with understanding the concept, gaining new skills. That is what it makes it process oriented. Okay, so we need to understand the difference between process oriented and product oriented. When we say that a thing is product oriented, we mean that it is concerned with getting good marks or maintaining a good academic record. But when we say that a thing is process oriented means understanding something, gaining new experiences, or developing new skills. Okay. So, okay. The next point is visible changes in behavior, skills, and competencies. Okay. So as specifically mentioned this word visible. What do we mean by visible? We mean overt behavior. Okay. Overt behavior. Overt behavior is the behavior which is visible. Okay. So we can see visible changes in behavior, skills, and competencies. I have improved as a teacher. My communication skills have become better. What do I mean by that? There are visible changes in my communication as a teacher. Okay. It contributes to personal growth and professional development. Okay. So when we are talking about specifically a B.Ed program or some teacher education program, my contribution to personal growth will improve my personality and will contribute to my professional development as a teacher. Okay. So this is what we mean by personal growth and professional development. Okay. Finally, the final point is it contributes to social and economic progress of the country. So again, if I am improving as a teacher, if my professional growth is happening as a teacher, I will obviously contribute to the economic progress of the country by contributing my share of teaching in this through the teacher education program, and definitely the social and economic progress country will be improved, right? So this is what we mean by the last point. Okay, moving on to factors of learning. We will discuss about these following factors, which are the social factors. The social factor is concerned with our social surroundings, people of our society, the social norms existing in our society. Okay, then we have the emotional factors. Emotional factors deal with reflection, our self concept of self, motivation. Okay, then we have the cognitive factors. Cognitive factors deal with memory, attention, retention. Okay, mental skills, development of our mental skills. Then we have the environment factors. Environment factors are concerned with our immediate environment, the infrastructure, okay, which contributes to our learning. Then we have the teacher and curriculum. Teacher plays a lot of role in transaction of knowledge, in using certain methods or strategies to improve learning, to facilitate learning. Then we have the curriculum also. Curriculum contributes to learning. So we'll see how curriculum contributes to learning, and then we have the individual factors. As we discussed in before, every individual is different from the other individual. So what are the factors? What are the individual factors that contribute to this learning? Okay, so let's start. Let's start these factors one by one. Okay. So firstly, we have the social factors that affect learning. These are the factors that are shaped by society to which a learner belongs, which means the immediate society, the immediate environment to which a learner belongs. Okay. So firstly, we have influence of teachers. So the values of teachers play a very important role in facilitating learning in an individual. When I'm saying values, I mean the empathetic value. A teacher should be empathetic, should be compassionate. Okay. Then values like uh, punctuality also matters. If the teacher is late to the class, that does not put a very good impression in the minds of learners. I hope you all would agree with this. Um, then moving on, the next point we have peers. Okay, so by peers, I mean positive peer pressure should be put instead of a negative one, obviously, because activities to facilitate peer learning. Peer learning is very important because peer learning helps with building of active educational experiences. And then we have the community engagement. And by community engagement, I mean a role of NGOs. Okay, a lot of NGOs are doing good. If there is one very good example of a very good NGO by the name Eklavya Foundation. They are doing very good in Madhya Pradesh, and they have set a perfect example for community engagement in learning. Okay, then we have society norms. Obviously, there are some norms when it comes to gender, religion, caste, and class. So we need to make sure that these social norms or this society norms that have been set by the society do not uh, play any role in diverting the learners. There should be an inclusive and a very diverse environment in the classroom, free from all these gender and caste-based norms. Okay, culture. Again, here diversity plays a very important role. The more diverse classroom we have, the perfect example we can set for multiculturalism. We should promote multiculturalism when it comes to promoting a lot of languages, promoting a lot of religion, promoting gender-based positivity in the classroom. Okay, religion also. The classroom should be secular, should favor no religion at all costs. There should be a positive environment when it comes to following no religion in classroom. Okay. Then we have politics and ideology. As we know, in our country, a lot of politics are done on the basis of ideology. We should make sure that we have a neutral ideology or no ideology at all. No right ideology, no left ideology, no nothing at all. No favoring of any political parties at all costs. Okay, so these were some of the social factors. Moving on, we have the emotional factors. Okay, emotional factors usually involve the covert behavior because emotions are within the individual. Then we have motivation, again, intrinsic or extrinsic. when we talk about interest, it is very, very important to be interested, to be emotionally invested in the degree or in the course that you're doing right now. If you're actually not interested, then there are chances you might not be involved in active learning in the classroom. Okay. So interest helps in building up of your skills, your competencies. Okay. Then we have anxiety and stress. We should also make sure that the curriculum that we are transacting or the kind of learning that is taking place in the classroom is free from giving any kind of anxiety or stress. Because it is very common these days in classrooms, and we need to make sure that our students are not stressed. If they are stressed, then there should also be some kind of yoga, meditation, or a proper mental health course or a paper to address all these things. Okay. Then obviously, when I talk about mental well-being, it is very important to maintain a balance between physical, emotional, and social well-being of the learner. Emotional and social well-being of the learner. Only then we can make sure that the mental well-being of the learner is being taken care of in the classroom. Okay. Okay. Moving on, the cognitive factors that we have. Okay, so as I already briefed you up, cognitive factors are the factors that deal with mental ability, acquisition, and retention of knowledge. Okay, so some of the following factors or in cognitive factors are prior knowledge. Okay, so when everyone has some prior knowledge when we talk about something like if I say that is a table, immediately a mental picture is going to come in your mind about the table, right? Even if you don't know like where the table is, what are the surroundings with respect to that table, immediately a mental picture of the table is going to come at your mind. So that reflects your prior knowledge with respect to table. Okay. Uh, then we have knowledge retention. So when I talk about knowledge retention, cognitive factors take care of knowledge retention by focusing on ways such as skimming. We all know what skimming is. Skimming is quickly just reading or just turning of the pages in order to understand the gist of a chapter or the content. Okay, we often do when we are reading the book, we just skim it. Okay, then mnemonics. Mnemonics are using small techniques in order to learn or understand, like the first letter technique, L, T, E, something like this. We'll make some word out of it in order to understand. We all have done that. We have just given it a name, mnemonics. Okay. Then there are some picture method also. Like we draw like a small picture and we just retain it in our memory. So these are some of the steps that we follow while retaining knowledge. Okay. Then we have different learning styles when it comes to individual. We have the kinesthetic learner. Okay, and you don't need to understand these words. I am just telling you the different kinds of word that we have in learning styles. We just need to understand that every individual has their own learning pace. We have the receptive learning style, where auditory also, where learners who learn well by listening to. Then we have visual learning style also, where learners, when they are shown something, can understand better. Okay. Metacognition. Metacognition means reflecting on your own knowledge or being aware of your own understanding. That is what we mean by metacognition. Reflection or awareness of one's own knowledge. Okay, then obviously higher order thinking skills. What are the higher order thinking skills? They are the critical thinking, problem solving. Okay, so cognitive factors also help in development of these skills. Okay. Moving on, we have the environment factors. Oh, okay. So environment can be referred to as the immediate surrounding of the learner. When I'm talking about my environment, I'm referring to my immediate surrounding. Okay. It is very different from the EVS environment that we actually do. or we understand. So these are some of the factors affecting learning. The learning environment. Okay, so the learning environment should be quiet, should be, that's why it is, that's why people go to libraries to understand. The learning environment should be quiet, should be well maintained, or we can also say, when it comes to classroom, we can say that a learning environment should be well ventilated with proper infrastructure, that we have an access to resources. Okay. We should have libraries. Nowadays, libraries are also found in remote mode. Remote mode means you can access the libraries from the ease of your laptop or your desktop. So library is remote or offline. Okay, access to resources. Then we have some open educational resources by the name of OER. A lot of open educational resources are available on the internet. So that has increased accessibility to knowledge, right? Then we have environment sensitivity and awareness. Obviously, there should be environment sensitization with respect to sustainability. There should be learning styles that cater to sustainability of knowledge, like for example, a very small act of saving paper every day, okay, can actually raise environment sensitivity and awareness in learners. So we should adapt sustainable ways of learning as teachers. Okay, then we have teacher and the curriculum. Okay, so as I said, teacher plays a very important role in transaction of knowledge, and curriculum also shapes up our whole curriculum is a framework. It is nothing but a framework of knowledge that we are going to receive for a fixed period of time, right? And it is a sum total of all the educational experiences that we will get through a fixed period of time, in a fixed period of time. So these are some of the factors through which learning is affected. Teaching strategies, various teaching strategies like the lecture method or project method. Okay, the problem solving method. These play an important role in shaping up of our learning experiences. Then we have the instructional design. Instructional design should be learner centric, should be full of experiences and exposure, should not be very should not be based on rote memorization. Okay, we should not promote the act of rote memorization when it comes to instructional design, or any kind of teaching strategies should not promote real rote memorization. Okay, then theory versus practice. Okay, when I say theory versus practice, when I specifically mean in the B.Ed curriculum, it is really important to have the component of internship, which will give you experience as teachers, versus what you actually learn in classroom, that will regard as theory. Okay, so it is really important to maintain this bridge between theory versus practice. Now when I'm saying practice, I mean internship. Okay, so when you actually do internship, or you actually gain some experience, okay, or learn some skill, you actually understand the bridge between what you've learned in classroom and how you can apply it in your actual teaching. Okay, so that bridge should be well maintained. There should not be any gaps between theory and practice, or theory and internship. Then we have learning outcomes. We should promote learning outcomes. Again, when I say outcomes, I am promoting a process-oriented approach. Okay, I previously I told you the difference between process-oriented approach and a product-oriented approach. So when we promote learning outcomes, we are promoting skill-based learning. Okay, so we are promoting skill-based learning when we are talking about learning outcomes. Okay, then lastly, we have the individual factors. So what basically are individual factors? Individual factors are the integration of social environment, cognitive and emotional factors that an individual constitutes of. So as I already said, every individual is different. I am different from the other person sitting next to me. The other person sitting next to me is different from the other person sitting next to that person. Okay, so we all are made up of some hereditary factors. So these are some of these factors are, firstly, we have motivation. Again, everyone is some of you right now are intrinsically motivated to do B.Ed. Okay. And some of you are extrinsically motivated to do B.Ed. Okay. See, so they have been shaped up because of our social environment, or maybe some of our cognitive environment. Some of us actually want to do B.Ed because that is how we feel. We feel that we can teach. We feel that teaching is for us. That's why. Okay. Then we have learning styles and patterns. Oh, okay. Everyone has their own learning style and pace, as we talked about. Some of us may understand the same thing immediately. For some of us, it might take some extra time to understand that thing. So everyone has their own learning styles and patterns. Some of us might like to write everything down, and some of us might just listen to the teacher speaking in the classroom, and they will just understand everything. Okay, so that is what I mean when I talk about learning styles and patterns. Then we have emotional awareness and management. Okay, as an individual, learners should be aware of their emotional capacity, or we call emotional balance. It is really important to strike a chord between your emotions and the reality. That then only we'll be able to manage our emotions. Okay. Prior knowledge. Okay. Again, every one of us come from different backgrounds. We have been brought up in different households. We have been nurtured differently. We have studied in different schools. We have done our bachelor's or anything from different colleges, different universities. So our prior knowledge with respect to everything is different. Okay, so that is again it is an individual factor, prior knowledge. Okay, then we have mental health and well-being. It is really important to have a mental balance, but everyone again has different mental well-being when it comes to individual factors. Then we have culture and identity. Again, here we can talk about diversity of languages, diversity of cultures, diversity of religion, diversity of caste, and which makes us an individual. All these social factors are making us what we are today. So they are, in some way, they are shaping our identity. So this is what makes us different from other. So this is how culture and identity plays an important role in individual factors, and being individual factors and shaping up our learning. Okay, then again, socio-economic factors. Everyone comes from different set of classes. So again, socio-economic role plays a very important role in shaping up our individual factors. Okay, so in this video, I'll just quickly revise what we learned. Okay, just a second. Okay, yeah. So first of all, we understood who is actually a learner. We can find learners in formal setting, in some informal setting. Then we we looked upon the characteristics of learner. A learner should be motivated, should be reflective, should be adaptable to various needs of the society, to the growing needs of society, should be self-aware, should be collaborative, should be curious, and should have thirst for knowledge. Then we also learned what is learning. It is a process-oriented approach. It brings about a change in the overt behavior of the individual. Then in depth we discussed the factors affecting learning. These were the social factors: influence of teacher, influence of peers, community engagement, culture, religion, other social norms. Then the emotional factors, the motivation, the interest, the anxiety and stress level in an individual, the mental health and well-being, the cognitive factors that deal with mental ability, acquisition of knowledge, knowledge retention. Here we studied prior knowledge, knowledge retention, learning styles, metacognition, and development of higher order thinking skills. Then the environment factors, the learning environment, the infrastructure, the access to resources, access to libraries, remote, offline, environmental sensitivity. Then the teacher and curriculum, the lecture, the project, the instructional design, the gaps between theory versus practice should not exist, the learning outcomes. Then finally, we talked about the individual factors, which are made up of the social and the cognitive factors and the other emotional factors like motivation, emotional awareness, culture and identity, socio-economic background. So I hope this video was insightful for you, and I hope again that this video was engaging. We'll meet again in the next video. So bye bye, take care as of now. Thank you.